Tinder recently held its first ever product keynote. They announced over 10 new features, and buried in the middle of the presentation, almost casually, they revealed a feature called Camera Roll Scan.
Will improve lighting and clarity of images, and Camera Roll Scan will help surface authentic moments hidden in your old photos and create visual collages that reflect one's interests.
It does exactly what it sounds like. Tinder's AI will scan the photos on your phone, not your profile photos, your entire camera roll. It does this to figure out your personality, your interests, and your lifestyle. Then it uses that to match you with other people. And honestly, the tech is kind of cool, but the implications are worth talking about. So let's set the stage. The Sparks keynote was basically Tinder's version of an Apple event, but for swiping. The announcements break down into 3 categories. First, AI-powered matching. The headliner is a feature called Chemistry, a recommendation system powered by AI that selects a daily batch of matches based on your vibe. It learns about you through a Q&A, onboarding process, and optionally, through scanning your camera roll. That's the Camera Roll Scan feature. It analyzes patterns across your existing photos to generate what Tinder calls photo insights. And it includes things like what you're interested in, what your lifestyle is like, and personality traits. There's also Learning Mode, which adjusts your recommendation in real time based on how you use the app. Internal testing on 14 million users showed higher retention for women in their first week. Second, safety tools. And these are also powered by large language models. The "Are you sure" message flags potentially disrespectful messages before you send them. I don't think that's going to stop the people who would send disrespectful messages, but go on. This existed before, but it used to be keyword-based. Now it's running through an LLM to detect tone and context. The "Does this bother you" message does the same thing on the receiving end, and now includes auto blur for flagged messages. Too little, too late. And a mandatory liveness verification called Face Check is rolling out globally for all new users. You submit a real-time photo to prove you match your profile pictures. Third, social features. A new events tab piloting in LA lets you see which singles are attending local activities. Video speed dating gives you scheduled 3-minute video chats as vibe checks. And Tinder Connect links third-party apps like Duolingo, Belly, and Spotify to your profile. Now, individually, some of these are genuinely useful. Liveness verification, great. No one wants to swipe through a swamp of AI-generated images or robots. LLM-powered harassment detection, pretty cool from a technical standpoint. But let's look at the full picture. Let's do an inventory of what Tinder now knows or will soon know about its users. Their face by a mandatory face check liveness verification. Their location, precise, real-time, including where you go for events. Their messages, now analyzed by large language models for tone and context. Their music taste by a Spotify integration in music mode. Their language learning habits by a Duolingo integration. Their food preferences by a Belly integration. Their swiping behavior, Learning Mode tracks this in real time. And their camera roll through Camera Roll Scan. Here's the thing about Camera Roll Scan specifically. Your camera roll isn't curated the way your profile is. Your profile is the version of you that you choose to present. Your camera roll is everything. Screenshots of conversations, photos of your house, your pets, your car, your workplace, sensitive photos, receipts, medical documents, photos of your kids. Now, Tinder says Camera Roll Scan is opt-in, and they say it's focused on surfacing, quote, interests and lifestyle cues. They haven't launched it yet, but it's slated for testing later this year in Australia, Canada, and the US. But let's talk about the technical capability here. Modern vision models can infer far more from photos than this person likes hiking. We're talking things like income level from background details, relationship status from who appears in your photos, relationship history, mental health indicators from the types of content you save, location history from geotagged images. Oh yes, all that wonderful metadata included in images goes straight into an LLM. Let's be honest, Tinder is going to use all of that. Why else would they collect it? So the question is, do you trust them with the data once that pipeline exists? Now, why is Tinder doing all of this right now? As with most things, we should follow the money. Tinder's paying subscriber base declined 8% year over year. You'd think this was a good thing for a dating app where you'd expect some people to go and actually find love. But beyond that, Match Group, which owns Tinder, saw paying subscribers fall 5% across their entire portfolio. 2025 revenue was essentially flat, so they offset subscriber losses by charging the remaining users more per person. People are leaving, and the ones who stay are paying more. Since they're not growing, they have to squeeze as much out of the people who do remain. And the response to declining engagement is to collect more data, feed it to AI, and hope that better matches make people stick around longer. That's the bet. Higher personal success rate should result in people staying longer, right? My guess is the next step, if this doesn't work, is to sell the data. I mean, we've seen that before. In fact, we've seen all this before. When a platform's organic value prop starts declining, they turn to algorithmic personalization to manufacture engagement. Facebook did it with the newsfeed algorithm. Instagram did it with Reels recommendations. TikTok's entire model is built on it. And YouTube is not free of blame here either. The thought these companies have is something along the lines of, the more data they have, the more personalized the experience, the more addictive the product, the less likely you are to churn. And the camera roll scan is the logical extreme of that pattern. Why limit yourself to in-app behavior when you can infer personality from someone's entire photo library? Let's talk about what's actually happening under the hood, because we're developers and that means we're interested in this beyond the moral implications. Camera roll scan is almost certainly using on-device image classification, at least initially. Apple and Google have both made it increasingly difficult for apps to bulk upload photos to external servers without explicit permission and visible indicators. So the likely architecture is that this will have a lightweight vision model running locally on your device, classifying your photos into categories such as outdoor activities, food, social gatherings, travel, or pets. It will then send those classifications, not the raw photos, to Tinder's servers. Tinder's recommendation engine uses those signals alongside your swipe behavior and Q&A responses. That's the charitable interpretation, and to be fair, this is how Apple's own Photos app works. But developers should be paying attention to how the opt-in process is framed. Every feature like this starts as opt-in, then it becomes recommended. Then users who don't opt in get a degraded experience, such as worse matches or fewer features. Eventually, the product is designed around the assumption that you've opted in, and not opting in makes the app barely functional. We've seen this pattern with location services, with contact syncing, with notification permissions. Tinder allowing it to be opt-in is likely just part of their launch strategy rather than a permanent state. And this brings us to the bigger point. This isn't really just a Tinder story. We're entering an era where AI capabilities have made it cheap to extract behavioral and personality signals from data that users already have on their devices. Camera rolls, message histories, browsing patterns, app usage, all of it is legible to modern models in ways it wasn't 5 years ago. Tinder is just being unusually transparent about it. They put it in a keynote. Most apps are already doing inference on your behavior. They're just not building a feature around it and giving it a name. And the business incentive to use every available signal is only going to get stronger. When your subscriber base is shrinking 8% a year, you don't leave data on the table. You scan the camera roll, you run the messages through an LLM, you make face check mandatory, because personalization is the only lever left when the core product isn't enough to keep people around. The real safeguard isn't going to be opt-in toggles. It's going to be regulation, platform-level restrictions on data access, and honestly, users deciding what trade-offs they're willing to make for a better match on a dating app. But what do you think? Would you let a dating app scan your photos for better matches, or is this a line you wouldn't cross? Let me know in the comments. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.